Where's my plane ticket? You got it for me, right?
Then, Tom said something unbelievable the next moment. Sorry. I didn't get yours.
What?
Tom is laughing as if he's having a great time.
So, you're saying you only didn't get mine?
Yeah, that's right. I did get them for Mom and everyone else, though. He probably never intended to buy mine in the first place.
Well, that's fine. I'm going home.
My name is Kelly Manson, a 46-year-old employee. I've been married to Tom for 2 years. Our meeting came later in my life. I've been working as a full-time employee at this company for over 20 years. So, I can handle most tasks and have achieved some results. However, I've been struggling with my job recently, which I'm supposed to be good at. Currently, I'm in the sales department, failing to meet quotas and facing severe reprimands from my boss daily. This situation has been demotivating, with sales not improving. And because of that, I'm getting scolded by my boss again, making me feel even worse. In the midst of this, one day, as I was sitting alone in the company's break room, a man named Tom approached me.
Are you okay?
You seem down.
Well.
Tom was on a sales visit to a different company in the building where I work, and that's when I first met him. I naturally felt like sharing my worries with him. He just listened to me without saying a word. Maybe it was easier because he was a stranger, someone who knew nothing about me. I felt a bit relieved by his kindness. Tom said he would be there to listen to me from now on and suggested we exchange contact information. I was grateful for his kindness and we exchanged numbers. By that time, I think I was already attracted to Tom. Gradually, Tom and I grew closer, started going out on dates on our days off, and eventually began dating. A year later, Tom proposed, and we decided to get married. We immediately went to meet my in-laws.
Kelly, we're looking forward to having you in the family,
my mother-in-law said with a smile, seeming very kind.
Once you're married, let's go on a family trip,
my father-in-law said, laughing heartily. My father-in-law seemed like a good guy, which reassured me. And then, after discussing it together, we decided not to have children. I was already in my 40s when I married Tom. Having a child now would be a significant burden on my body. Besides, Tom wanted to live a life with some financial freedom and wanted to be able to support his parents and show them filial piety. Having a child would mean our time and money would be significantly consumed by childcare. I also wanted to continue to work hard at my job, and after considering various aspects, I readily agreed to his suggestion. After getting married, we bought a new house together. We pooled our savings, so it was a small house, but we were able to buy it outright. Marrying the man I love and acquiring our own home. I believed we would become even happier from here on out. But soon, I realized that was all an illusion. The cause was my in-laws. Right after getting married, I often found myself troubled by them. For example, their unexpected visits. Since Tom and I started living in our new house, my in-laws always showed up without any notice. And they would point out in detail how I was lacking as a homemaker. One day, my mother-in-law screamed in surprise when she opened the fridge.
What on earth is this in the fridge? What? Is this cheap beef all you've been feeding Tom?
Our savings had significantly decreased because we bought the house outright. I'm trying to be frugal, but it's quite hard to manage, I explained desperately. But she wouldn't listen at all. Moreover, there was another reason I bought cheap groceries. Every time my in-laws visited, they would take home large amounts of groceries and household items. All of which came out of my wallet. Their inconsiderate behavior made me feel increasingly uncomfortable. So, I thought by stocking cheap items, they might take less home. But one day, my mother-in-law found expensive-looking clothes in my closet and berated me for wasting money. You don't need something as fancy as this. I'll take it.
Wait, please. That dress was a birthday present from my mother. Please, give it back.
I desperately tried to get the dress back from my mother-in-law. This dress was something my mother cherished deeply. For work, my mother would wear famous brands when visiting clients. This dress was handed down to me with the advice to always strive to be a sophisticated woman. So, this was one thing I couldn't give to my mother-in-law. However, upon seeing the dress, my mother-in-law grinned.
You're too young for such a fine dress. But never mind, I'll wear it. You should be thankful, right? How can I? It's a birthday present from my mother.
I felt like crying. Then, having watched the whole situation, Tom laughed and said,
Come on. You should be grateful my mom's offering to wear it. As a wife, you gotta listen to what my mom says, right?
I believe it's important to respect my husband's mother. However, I don't want to give up the dress. As I stayed silent in frustration, my father-in-law said harshly,
Our son married an older bride. Since we can't even see a grandchild's face, the least you can do is show us some filial piety.
Even though I'm called older, I'm the same age as my husband. I'm irritated by my father-in-law's mentality that men are fine but women are not.
Exactly, Dad's right. Now hand over the dress to Mom.
Tom said, nodding as if it were obvious. It seems I have no allies in this house. No matter what I say, I'm made out to be the villain. My mother-in-law happily put the dress in a shopping bag. Thus, I reluctantly gave in to my in-laws' demands. And the problem wasn't just with my in-laws. There was also a big issue with Tom. About a year after we got married, Tom started coming home late and skipping dinner with me.
I'm home,
he'd announce, drunk, at 1 a.m. today as well. Welcome back, I'd greet him, albeit with a faint look of displeasure. Tom, unfazed by my reaction, would start talking to me.
I'm gonna take a bath, so could you put this away for me?
Saying that, he took off his suit right there, handed me his bag and the suit, and then just went straight into the bathroom. He could at least put away his own suit and bag. I sighed as I went to put his things in Tom's room. That's when suddenly, a notification sound came from the phone inside the bag. Tom always carries his smartphone with him, but it seems he forgot it in his bag today because he was drunk. It could be serious if it's work-related or an emergency call from the in-laws. It was late at night, and any call at this hour must be important. I took the smartphone out of Tom's bag. But I froze when I saw the screen.
Who?
Displayed on the smartphone was a woman's name, Hannah. It seemed she had sent a message. A preview of the message flashed on the screen, saying, "You were amazing today, let's love each other again." The message seemed to continue, but I couldn't see it without unlocking the phone. The woman appeared to be quite young based on her photo used as her WhatsApp icon. Seeing that message, I was convinced Tom was cheating. Messages from Hannah kept coming. For now, I took photos of the notification screen, but this alone wasn't enough evidence. I sighed. Besides, I'm already in my late 40s, and divorce would likely mean I'd remain single. Without children, being alone now would be mentally tough. What am I gonna do now? I was pondering for a while. After finally getting married, is it okay to go back to being single? Then one day, Tom said something to me.
My parents' wedding anniversary is coming up. Get the travel plans sorted out quickly.
Tom looked at me as if it was obvious that I should be the one to take care of it.
All right, don't rush me.
I could only nod in response. We've been gifting a trip to my in-laws for their anniversary every year. Of course, Tom and I also go along to entertain them. We've been booking the same in every year and we're planning to do so this year too. But then, Tom suddenly said something unexpected.
Yeah, this year is my parents' 50th anniversary, so book us something special, will you? What?
I was perplexed. The usual inn we book is quite upscale already. Plus, the cost of the inn always comes out of my salary. When I ask Tom to chip in, he says, paying for trips is the wife's role, or as the son, showing my parents a good time is my way of honoring them, and that's enough. So, if we book a too expensive inn, it becomes a huge burden on me. When I remained silent, Tom started to get annoyed.
Hey, it's their 50th anniversary, you know? Don't you have any respect for my parents?
He continued to lecture me, going on about how I lack awareness as a wife. Exhausted by Tom's sermon, I just said okay, got it, to end the conversation. On the day of the trip, Tom went to pick up his parents first, so I was to meet them at the airport. Carrying both mine and Tom's luggage, I found them already at the meeting spot. And for some reason, Tom and his parents were grinning. I had a bad feeling. While thinking this, I noticed they each held a plane ticket in their hands. I approached Tom to ask,
"Where's my plane ticket? You got it for me, right?"
Then, Tom said something unbelievable the next moment. Sorry. I didn't get yours."
"What?"
Tom was smiling as if he was enjoying the moment.
"So, you're saying you only didn't get mine?"
Unable to believe it, I asked Tom. "Yeah, that's right. I did get them for my parents, though." Saying so, Tom just grinned. Seeing it, I realized what was happening. He probably never intended to buy my ticket on purpose.
"Well, that's fine. I'm going home,"
I said with a sigh. "Oh, do that.
A snobby wife like you doesn't fit in at a luxury in any way. We'll enjoy it without you, just family. Don't go eating out alone or anything lavish, okay?
I'll be checking the receipts later," my mother-in-law said condescendingly.
"Let's get going then,"
my father-in-law cheerfully said to Tom, and the three of them headed to the boarding gate. How much more could they look down on me? I took out my phone and called someone. Then, I immediately purchased a ticket for another flight. Around 5 p.m. that day, my phone rang. It was on silent, so it didn't make any sound, but the caller was Tom.
Just as I expected.
I smirked and ignored the call. Tom and his parents' flight was in the morning. Check-in wasn't until after 3 p.m., so they were probably enjoying some sightseeing. Meanwhile, I went ahead to the luxury inn where we were supposed to stay. There, I approached a certain person who was waiting.
"Mom, sorry for the sudden visit."
The person was my mother. I apologized as soon as I saw her.
"I was surprised when you called out of the blue. And to ask to book this in. I'm really sorry."
I told my mother about Tom's actions and also reported that my dress given by her was taken by my mother-in-law. My mother, clearly angry, said,
"What? That's unforgivable. I'll make sure to get the dress back."
Then, my mom and I began to devise a plan. We earnestly asked the landlady for her cooperation. Once we had a rough plan in place, Tom and his parents arrived at the inn. I spotted Tom and discreetly hid behind the front desk. Unaware of me, my husband approached the reception with a smile. Following him, his parents were in high spirits and carrying lots of shopping bags.
"I have a reservation under Manson."
I can see a lady over there, but the person who made the reservation hasn't arrived yet, have they?" The landlady replied with a puzzled look. Since the reservation was made under my full name, it was normal for the landlady to say this. Tom seemed to understand this and didn't show any sign of suspicion. Without any hesitation, Tom lied.
"My wife suddenly became ill and couldn't make it. It shouldn't be a problem, right? Someone else will be joining later, so we won't be canceling any spots."
The someone else he mentioned must surely be his affair partner. I just listened quietly. To this, the landlady smiled sweetly and announced,
"If the wife is not present, it's not possible to use the reservation." "What?"
Tom and his parents were stunned by the landlady's sudden declaration. And then, my husband kept calling me. He must be panicking. Angry, my mother-in-law confronted the landlady.
"What do you mean it's not possible? Kelly made the reservation for us, and we came all this way by plane."
She raised her voice.
"We're also here to celebrate my parents' anniversary. So, please make an exception."
Tom tried to persuade her. The landlady, with a resigned expression, then said,
"If you insist, we can arrange a room, but there will be an additional charge." "What? What do you mean by an additional charge?"
Tom asked, surprised. The landlady glanced at a woman sitting nearby.
"Ma'am, perhaps it's time to tell them the truth?" I guess I should step in.
My mother-in-law looked puzzled at the exchange between the landlady and the woman.
Who are you, wearing those dark sunglasses?
Before she could finish, she stopped mid-sentence. The moment the woman removed her sunglasses, it became clear who she was.
You're Kelly's mother, aren't you? What are you doing here?
My mother-in-law was confused. My mother and the in-laws had only met at a family-only wedding ceremony. Smiling, my mother answered.
Long time no see. By the way, where is Kelly? Well, she's ill.
Tom continued to lie, even to my mother's inquiry. My mother sighed at him.
Don't lie. When I called earlier, Kelly sounded just fine. Plus, this one was booked using the shareholder benefits from our company. So, if she's not here, you'll have to pay the standard rate. What? Shareholder benefits? Our company? What are you talking about?
Tom spoke, seemingly overwhelmed by the information. Probably too much information for him to process at once. My mother-in-law also spoke to my mother.
Shareholder benefits from the company you work at? Even for a regular employee? For such a small company, you have generous benefits.
My mother showed a look of disbelief at my mother-in-law's provocative tone. I hadn't gone into detail about my mother with Tom or his parents. Since they never asked, I hadn't mentioned it. So, they were shocked by my mother's next words.
Me? I'm the president of the Wilsons Group. Kelly is also set to work at our head office soon as the next president.
My mother said with a smile.
Wait, the Wilsons Group? That major company?
My mother-in-law asked with wide eyes. Both my father-in-law and Tom looked incredibly surprised. The Wilsons Group is one of the leading travel companies in the country, managing inns and restaurants as well. Actually, this luxury inn is under our group's umbrella. That's why we could use it at a discounted rate. The Wilsons Group has been passed down through my mother's family for generations. And the current president of the Wilsons Group is my mother.
Are you trying to deceive us by lying? Kelly wouldn't keep quiet about such a thing.
Tom glared at my mother accusingly.
Will you believe it if you see this?
Saying that, my mother casually tossed her business card to Tom. Tom looked at the business card and his face went pale.
So, you really are the president of the Wilsons Group?
Tom's body was trembling slightly. Next to him, his parents also had their faces turn pale. My father-in-law, now living on his pension and unemployed, apparently worked as a company employee before retiring. It seems he worked for a mid-sized company, and I heard from Tom that he retired as a department head. There's a clear income gap between my father-in-law, who retired from a mid-sized company as a department head, and my mother, who is the president of a major company. Then, my mother, glaring at my mother-in-law, said,
That dress, I gave it to Kelly. Why are you wearing it? It's a precious item I gave to Kelly, hoping she would come into her own.
Saying that, my mother glared fiercely at her.
I'm so sorry. I'll take it off right now.
My mother-in-law, turning blue, hurriedly changed. And she immediately returned the dress to my mother.
If there's even a slight fray, I'll be charging you for the repair. Be prepared. Yes. I'm very sorry.
My mother-in-law responded meekly to my mother's declaration. Then, Tom, as if remembering something, muttered under his breath.
It would be bad if Hannah came here.
My mother was talking to my mother-in-law and didn't seem to hear. However, I was right behind my husband, so I didn't miss his whisper. I shouted from behind him.
Hannah won't be coming. Whoa! Kelly! Why are you here?
Tom was clearly shaken. The in-laws were also shocked, mouths agape. I smiled sweetly.
Hannah isn't coming because I arranged it. Right after you all boarded the plane this morning, I contacted her.
After finding out about the affair from Tom's smartphone, I secretly went to a detective agency and asked them to investigate. I got the investigation results and Hannah's contact information. And on this occasion, I called her directly. After talking, Hannah made a decision.
When I contacted her about alimony, she apologized. She said she was only after the money with you, Tom. and that she had no intention of marrying someone like you.
Upon hearing it, Hannah was still 25 years old. The reason she was dating Tom, who was nearly half her age older, was for the money. She was attracted to the idea of being treated to meals and receiving brand name items from Tom. She firmly said,
"I was thinking it's about time to call it quits since he started asking for family gatherings. I never planned to marry him anyway."
Tom was shocked to hear this.
"That's a lie, right? I was thinking of divorcing to be with Hannah."
Tom was dumbfounded, and his mother came to comfort him. His father also sympathized with Tom. My mother and I watched the three of them with disdain. Then, I made my final decision to Tom.
"We are getting a divorce, so you're free to date whoever you want from now on."
The moment I mentioned divorce, Tom resisted.
"I have no intention of divorcing. Without Hannah, it's meaningless, and I definitely won't sign the divorce papers. After all, you don't have definitive proof of the affair, do you?"
His mother agreed with him.
"That's right. We won't accept a divorce. After all, Kelly is the next president of a major company, right? How could we let go of such a catch?"
Her eyes were shining with greed, which was creepy. His father seemed pleased, too. They were probably planning to receive a large sum of money from me. But I wouldn't let things go their way.
"How about you look at this?"
I handed Tom and his parents the investigation results from the detective agency. Photos of numerous infidelities. Entering a hotel together, going into her apartment together, cuddling on the street. The results were a definitive black. The content was too undeniable, so my husband and his parents' faces turned even paler.
"I plan to have Hannah testify about the affair in exchange for reducing the alimony. It'll be interesting to see how Hannah testifies if it goes to court."
When I chuckled, my husband's face turned deathly pale. His parents looked like they had been dropped into the abyss. I had no intention of forgiving Tom and his parents. After that, my divorce from Tom was finalized. Tom resisted until the end, but he eventually gave in. The divorce was completed through a lawyer, and I demanded alimony from my husband and his affair partner. Hannah seemed to have disappeared from Tom's life. Even after divorcing Tom, there were some troubles. Enraged, Tom and his parents started to lay ambushes in front of the building where I work. Apparently, Tom's misconduct was exposed at his company because of our divorce. He was found to have engaged in power harassment, sexual harassment, and even accepting bribes during entertainment. The reason why his misdeeds came to light was because the president of the company Tom worked for was a friend of my mother. After discussing it, the president conducted an internal investigation, and Tom's wrongdoings were uncovered. The president was furious, and it seems Tom was dismissed. However, his parents were not working and living on a pension, unable to support the unemployed Tom. Discontented, the in-laws conspired and started to ambush at my workplace. I managed to evade them at first, but their persistence eventually led to my capture. Tom suddenly appeared, approached me, and grabbed my arm.
"If we play nice, you get cocky. We're struggling without money. Remarry and support us,"
Tom said, thrusting a marriage registration form at me.
"All you need to do is sign, hurry up."
My mother-in-law also grabbed my arm, trying to make me hold a pen. It's useless to try and escape. My father-in-law was there too, making it impossible for me to flee. But, it seems they made a mistake themselves. The next moment, security guards arrived.
"Let go! What are you doing? Stop it!"
5 or 6 security guards subdued my in-laws. Then, the police arrived. Actually, since I started being ambushed, my mother and I asked for cooperation from the company's reception, the building's security guards, and the company's employees. We had shown photos of my in-laws to the company's reception, building security, and employees, asking them to immediately report any actions they took upon appearing. Thanks to that, everyone was able to respond swiftly, allowing the police to quickly control the situation. Thus, Tom and his parents were arrested by the police on the spot. Marks from Tom grabbing my arm were still clearly visible. It contributed to my decision to file a complaint. With their social credibility gone due to their actions, the future looks bleak for Tom and his parents. They paid the settlement money, but they're in debt due to the alimony for the affair. Currently, they are all working multiple part-time jobs to make ends meet while repaying their debts. After that, I was assigned to the headquarters of the Wilsons Group. Since then, I've been living busy days. However, I have a strong ally by my side.
Kelly, we're going to visit our clients. You need to start getting your face remembered.
My mother would say to me. For my safety, I'm currently living with my mother at our family home. At home, my mother instructs me on various things to prepare me to become the next president of the company. I'm approaching my 50s, feeling like a new employee every day. But I don't mind it. I'm going to be in a position to protect the company that has been passed down through generations. I want to do more than just protect it, I aim to develop it further. While feeling the pressure, I'm also filled with dreams and hopes as I tackle the tasks at hand today.